Hey guys, welcome back to Steve Basic Fishing. If you guys are anything like me, you have a whole plethora of lures in different colors, different sizes, different shapes, different actions, and you felt like you needed every single one of them, and then it comes out to the moment of truth of you get on the lake and now you got to pick one. You're just kind of at a loss of what one I should throw. Well, today we're going to go about that in jerkbait specifically and choosing which ones you should be tying on. So with this being February, absolutely right dead nuts in the middle of jerkbait season, or maybe you're the type of person that fishes a jerkbait all year long. I'm one of those too. We belong to a small group of people, as I've come to find out. It being jerkbait season, I figured that'd be a good time to do this video. This time of year, depending on where you live, your weather is all over the place. It's sunny one day, it's cloudy the next. It's windy the next day, or at least the day you actually can go fishing. It's how it is with me. It's always windy. Maybe it's raining a little bit. Maybe it's bright and sunny and it's warm and it feels like you're in Florida, but you're actually in Oklahoma, because that's what the weather's like here all the time. It's crazy. Yeah, just crazy, crazy weather. Well, that kind of makes it to where you can't really rely on one specific color, one specific lure. You start to have to learn to change with the conditions, assess the conditions, and choose your bait that way. So let's start with cloudy days. When it's cloudy days, I like to choose between basically two types of colors. If it is cloudy but not windy, I like to go with muted colors like this. This is a Megabass 110. I don't know exactly what color it is. Hopefully the light's not too much on this, but this is a very I don't know, faded kind of color. Yes, it's translucent, but I don't know, it's almost like someone took all the shine off of this. I really like these colors. Cloudy, no wind, so the fish can't see it really, really well, but because there's not wind, they're probably not in the most, active of moods. So it's not a color that's just going to put them off, and it's not too bright, not too crazy aggressive is probably the best way to put it. Another one that's a pretty good example, this is a Berkeley Stunna, and this is kind of in a matte pro blue color. It's got a bunch of hook rash on it. I'll show you how much I use this one. As far as actually the jerkbaits that I use, I've only got a couple different models. I have a Berkeley Stunna, I've got the Megabass jerkbaits. 6 cents Provoke makes a very good, very well priced jerkbait, and then the Jackal Re-Range MR, which stands for medium runner, basically a +1 version. Very good jerkbait. It's probably the best casting jerkbait that I've ever used. When you cast it, sounds like you broke the thing in half when it flies out there, but it's a very good jerkbait. Okay, so that's cloudy, no wind, clear water. Let's just get that out of the way. If it's clear-ish water, if it's cloudy and there is some wind, then I like to go. I like to hook myself in the fingers. I like to go with more solid colors. I don't know what this color is. I think this is actually this is a 6 cents Provoke, and I think this is their threadfin color. Could be herring, I don't know. But it's more solid. It's actually just a little bit translucent back here. I like to go with this color, or I actually would start with something a little bit more aggressive, which I may have trouble getting out of the box right now. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. So this one's actually a little translucent, but you've got dark colors here and then that bright orange belly, because obviously when this jerks, it doesn't just stay. It's going to rip up and down and roll, and the fish are going to see all that. And I really think that those bright colors tend to trigger fish that are already active and feeding, particularly if you get around smallmouth and spotted bass. It really triggers those kind of fish that it's not just those species. Largemouth do it too. Largemouth, it tends to seem lake specific, but fish that feed by sight a lot. Smallmouth, they feed by sight a lot. Spotted bass like to feed by sight, and then it seems like with largemouth, when I get around fish that like to feed by sight, they're more open water fish. You know, they're not the fish that lives under a dock or next to a tree. They roam open water and chase bait all day. They are more sight feeders, and they tend to fall for the bright colors a little more, in my opinion. Okay, so we get away from cloudy, now we get into sunny. Again, sunny, no clouds, or I'm sorry, sunny, no wind, so should be pretty neutral fish, maybe negative mood fish. I like to go with non-flashy stuff, but that's just translucent. Let's see if I can find you a better one in here somewhere. Well, this is a pretty good example. Again, this is a Jackal re-range, and this is a Pro Blue, so it's blue on top. It may look shiny right now, but I promise you it's not. This is not a shiny bait. I'm looking straight through this at the camera at you guys right now. It's a very clear bait. You can actually, I don't know how well you guys can see all that, but you can even see all the traction in there for the weight transfer system and all the BBs for the sound. Again, I like it because it's not giving the fish a very good chance to see it. When they're in a negative mood, you don't want them to, heck, you know what, even when they are not in a negative mood and they're reacting, you don't want them to see it very well. But when they're in a negative mood, it means you have to keep it in the strike zone longer. So it gives them a longer chance to look at it. You have to leave it there longer for them to look at it, but you want them to only be able to see a silhouette. You don't want them to come out and go, well, I can see that weight transfer system, I'm not going to eat that. That's why the translucent and just a silhouette of a bait really tends to work really well for that. Now, if you do have some wind, while that color may work really well, then I like to go with flashier things. So again, we got a 6 cents provoke here. It's a little bit translucent, but this has a lot of flashier sides. I don't know what you'd call this paint, but you know, it's kind of got like a prism kind of look to it. Dark back, bright belly again, but flashy sides. And when there's wind, you can tend to get away with less lengthy pauses, more aggressive twitches, faster retrieves. And I think that flash in the wind and the way the waves kind of break up the the light refraction through the water, I think all that kind of reflecting off this just tends to make fish react for it more when they're already in a feeding mood. Another one I like, which I'm kind of just now starting to dabble with, this is a 110+1 Junior, so it's a little bit smaller version than most of your other jerk baits. I don't know. Yeah, this is a regular +10 or +1, and you know, nose to nose, like it's just a little bit shorter, but it's also not quite as thick either. It's not quite as tall. Anyways, this is another one that, like, it has almost like a chrome, very quality painted finish color to it. So it's going to flash a lot more, and it's going to show up better, again, for those fish that are actively feeding and they want to chase something and they really want to get after it. One last little tip that I'll share with you guys that I think is helpful, and they've been around a really long time, but not that many guys use them. You always want your jerkbait to suspend, right? Anytime you tie a new one on, drop it down in the water, give it a couple reels and watch it. See, does it sink? Does it float? Does it stay still? Ideally, you want it to stay still. If the water is really cold, you may want it to just sink ever so slowly. But if it starts to float on you, more often than not, you don't want that. And a way you can remedy that is, like, some guys like to stick split rings, like add split rings and stuff on here. I don't really care about carrying a bunch of split rings. Well, what you can do is you can get you these are called suspend dots. They used to be made by Storm. I don't know if that's who still makes these. I've probably had these in a box for about 25 years. I've really had these things a long time. I don't use them a whole lot, but they're just sticky on one side. They're just little circles. You peel them off and then you stick them. I like to stick them right here behind the first hook, and if I need another one, I just stick another one right on top of that. I don't tend to go back because I think it starts to mess up how the bait kind of suspends. You want it, when it suspends, you want it to suspend a little nose down, and if you start to bring them further back, the on the bait, then it may start to level out a little bit. And I don't know if that's going to negatively affect the fish. I just know I catch them this way, so I don't really mess with those kind of things. If I need to stick any more on there, I just stick them right on top of there. Okay, so that's all I got on this, guys. What I'd like you to do is drop a comment below. I'd love to know what your favorite jerkbait is that you guys are throwing right now. Because as you can see, I don't have enough jerkbaits. I think maybe I should get a couple. Maybe you guys will tell me what's a good one, what you guys like, and I'm going to go throw your jerkbaits. So till the next time, guys, we'll see you on the water.